Welcome back, folks, to the Business Blast. It's brought to you by the good folks at Satco. That's right, satco.com. Light thing, right thing, Greg Eric.
Got it all, and even the odd stuff that you don't know they have. They have. I trust me. I've looked. Whenever I think of who has this, what is this thing? I look at Satco, they've got it.
Go to satco.com, baby. What do you got?
Um, if somebody told you there's a 70% chance of something happening, what would you think about that percentage?
Uh, you know, I don't like predictions. I mean, we did the show with Al on Get a Grip on Lighting about the predictions. There's a funny
Sure.
thing about predictions. They're tough, especially when they're about the future, Greg Eric.
Okay. Well, there's a 70% chance, according to financial experts, that we're heading into a recession.
Okay.
Do you believe that?
I don't care.
Okay.
And that's those are macroeconomic trends. And so when you're a owner operated business that is not, say, exposed to very large trends and forces, recessions are irrelevant. Sometimes they can be quite positive for your business. And so you know when you're going into a recession, um, other people are exiting the business, and so there's actually more business opens up for you. Competition seems to leave the industry, and so you find a bigger seam. And so, like the idea that the macroeconomic trends, those are for the dismal science, which is never right anyway. I don't think they've ever gotten anything right in the history of my life, and I read The Economist every week, and they're always wrong
Right.
about everything they talk about. They're always wrong. They're like economists. Okay, and God love all you guys out there. There's a reason why they call it the dismal science. Okay, and we go through phases. At one time, everyone's following Friedrich Hayek at the Austrian school. This guy knew it all, and the next thing you know, it's that other English dude. I can't remember his name, but he came up with quantitative easing, which is like printing money. And it's like they don't have there's no difference between economists and football prognosticators, dude.
Mhm. Sure.
Okay,
So,
why
so
play the
you're
game if we
right.
already know who's going to win, right?
True. Mhm.
So like, there's no like economists know nothing for sure. How's that?
That's the only thing they know. There's nothing for sure.
Nothing. They don't listen. They don't even know how the economy works.
Okay.
Okay, they don't even know. Like if you ask an economist, how does the economy work? He might give you some dribble drabble, whatever. It is more. It is complex beyond human comprehension. Nobody understands how our economy works. There's nobody in the world that can say, I know how it works. Not Janet Yellen, not Mark Carney, not the president of the European Bank, European Central Bank, the ECB. None of these people know at anything about at all how it works.
Okay. So you said so you don't believe, you don't care about the percentage chance. You don't care if we are going into a recession, but let's just say we are and it happens. What do you have to do to prepare for it? Or what do you do? Do you react to it or do you prepare for it? Or both?
I like for if you're talking about, okay, so very large electrical businesses that perhaps are on this website, today's electrical distributor. Okay, so if you're a massive electrical business and you are looking at your branches across America, you're going to see those macroeconomic trends. But some
Yeah.
of your branches will do good and some of your branches won't do good. If you're at the branch manufacturer level, get to work, sucker. Get a plan together. No different than if it's boom time. Whatever. You got to have a plan. You got to move. You got to make things happen. You got to get your customers. You got to fight in the market. You got to get after it. And like this idea of a recession, okay, there's going to be a recession. Is it going to be brutal? Maybe it will be life changing. Maybe it will be um, destructive beyond our wildest imaginations. Who the hell knows? Okay? But you can't plan for that anyway.
Right. I think one thing you can plan to some degree, and is always just a general good practice, business practice, is to run things as efficient as you can. And right now, if you're worried about a recession coming up and the money that's going to be there, you might need to look at what you have and if there's anything you can do to tighten it up in terms of employees, jobs, positions, whatever it might be related to that. I think you can do that to some degree, and you should always do that to some degree, but maybe more
Why
so in a
wouldn't you do
recession.
that anyway?
Right, you should. But I think, I think what happens a lot of times, again, speaking with the larger companies, is they have the money, so they make up something, and they just add another position that doesn't need to be done. You don't know how many people I know that have big corporate jobs that can get it done in 10 hours a week. It's like it's a joke. And so I think that kind of stuff is going to have to get tightened up, and it should. It's at the point like if you can get your job done in 10 hours a week and they're paying you good money, do something else for them. Or they're going to require you to do something else. Is what I think should happen.
I don't care. Like the business owners, you're on your own. Okay, you
Hmm.
gotta, and like the macroeconomic trends. If you're in charge of a large, 400 branch electrical distributor, yeah, you gotta start looking at your balance sheet and how much money you have and all this kind of stuff. If you're a branch manager, you got to come up with a strategy. If I were an employee, okay, um, I would be taking a step back. I mean, the employees have seen wage rises like never before in the history of my life. Um, you've seen the demand for employees surge, and no one can find anybody to work, and all this sort of stuff. But what we know about recessions is, like you said, people start looking at productivity of their workforce. Now, why don't they do it in boom times? I don't know. Probably because there isn't an entrepreneur in charge. Okay, they don't have an entrepreneurial spirit. I mean, some people get blown away about how much a small lighting distributor owner can take home at the end of the day. Like they're blown away at some of the numbers that come out of lighting distributors. I've seen them. My own self. A guy does 300,000 a year. He makes 1.1 million. I mean, for 3 million a year, he makes 1.1 million on it. And people are like, "What the hell? How did you do that?" Well, it's proper. It's what you were talking about. Who cares if it's a recession or not? I think this message is more for the employees. And it's like when you're looking at where you're going to work, when you're looking at, you know, I mean, remember at the beginning of COVID when the pandemic started, and they're like, all the companies that take care of their employees during the pandemic, they're going to reap the rewards of loyalty. Those employees are always going to be loyal to those employers. What a crock of crap that was.
Right.
What a load of shit. I've never seen anything like that. Is the biggest false prediction I have ever heard in my life. There's never been more changing of jobs and people moving for another $10,000 a year or something like that. It may seem like a lot, so I would say that during recession time, it's the employees that really got to take a look at the heart and see where do they belong and how can I become more productive without being told to be more productive. Like how many
Yep.
people in your shop? I mean, I don't know if they listen to this, but you know, we were just talking the other day about like, you know, people saying they're so busy, but you never see them work late,
Right.
right? Like it's like you come
Yep.
here every day at 9, you leave at 4 and 2 o'clock on Fridays, but I pay you by the hour and there's overtime, and never caught you here 1 minute after 4 o'clock.
Right. No, I
Nowhere
think
to be
that's good.
found.
It's a good message. Yeah, you can. A lot of times you think of it as a business owner, but as an employee, do everything you can to be more productive, and your owners and your managers notice that, and then it makes you more valuable.
I also would encourage employees to do this. I would encourage them to talk to their boss and their managers about what they're doing. Not in a boastful way, not in a way where like, look at how great I'm doing, but just saying, hey man, I'm really working hard on this. I'm going to stay late tonight. Is that okay with you?
Okay.
I'm going to get these 3 things done for you. Point it out to your boss when you're going the extra mile. There's nothing wrong with that. Sometimes I don't notice. I'm an owner. Sometimes I don't notice when people are working hard or when they're struggling. There's nothing wrong with a little bit of communication. That's what this is about, right? I was talking to someone just the other day, and they're like, what's this? What's the secret? I said the secret is you do this, and I give you cash,
Yeah.
right? And it's like, well, you don't give it to me. Yes, I do, actually.
Right.
You know what I mean? And it's like, There's an element of in recession that you want to avoid biting the hand that feeds you, literally. And so I think employees need to be more concerned in a recession than business owners. Business owners, you're on your own, buddy. Get your shit together. Part of my language here on the show. But you got to work. You got to make things happen. You got to show leadership. In times of crisis, that's when the leader emerges. That's when the leader shows up. That's when he starts telling people what to do. That's when he's micromanaging or she's micromanaging the staff a little bit. Why are you micromanaging? Because we're in a crisis. I manufacture crises every now and then. I make them up. Right? Because you want to have an opportunity for leadership, and people generally want to be left alone to do their jobs, but sometimes you need to shake them up a little bit. So make up a crisis. Boom. Nothing like a good crisis, right? So look, going into recession, employees have more to worry about than the business owners because they're the ones that usually face the job cuts, the time off, on EI. What do I do now? I'm 55. Everybody was hiring 6 months ago. The real estate market was booming a year ago. Ain't booming anymore, sucker. Shit changed. Check out Satco. That's right, satco.com. Light thing, right thing. What do you got to say, guys? I've been telling all the electrical distributors the secrets. If you want to limit your line card, you go to satco.com. That's satco.com. Thanks for listening.